What's good, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Lanyard Podcast with your man, Big Pop. And it's good to be back, getting to the flow of things. I don't want to leave y'all for too long, but we back. We ready to hit these Saints head on, and let's see what we got.
Yeah, let's get it.
Big Pop on the mic.
Welcome to the pod with your man Big Pop. Anything you want, we yap about. Say it with your chest and say it loud. Anything that's hot, we yap about. Welcome to the pod with your man Big Pop. Anything you want, we yap about.
So I know it's been a while, but just to jump in, we got to start off with this one topic: the Drew Brees Hall of Fame speech. Shout out to the GOAT. We love us some Drew Brees. But just my thoughts on it, man. It was an awesome speech. It was an awesome day just to see the Who Dat Nation down in Canton. I wish I could have been there, but to show support and show love for the guy that not only brought us a Super Bowl, but that changed the course of the city. I mean, everybody knows what happened and, what we were just recovering from. But in order to hitch our wagon to Drew Brees and for him to, guide us to places we haven't been, not just on the football field, but just in life general, man, just, being in the community and just being around and, showing his support for the community, donations and his Brees Dream Foundation and doing things for the community. And, he's more than a Hall of Fame quarterback. Yes, the stats and the play and the championship is what got him there, but he's also a Hall of Fame human being. So, just shout out to the GOAT. As he was giving his speech, I was listening in the car and, I brought tears to my eyes, man. And, I had to stop for a minute and pause and gather myself, you know, just because he meant so much, not just to me, but to everybody in the city. Everybody during his 20 years, 15 years playing for the Saints, he just meant so much. So shout out to the GOAT. There'll never be another Drew Brees. Nobody will ever be able to replicate what he did. To me, he's the greatest quarterback of all time, stat wise, everything. Tom Brady had to play extra years in order to surpass Drew Brees in his stats. Yeah, Brady got the rings, and everything like that, and Manning got the MVPs. Brees was robbed. That's another video for another day. But you know, they didn't mean as much to the city, to their cities respectively, as what Drew Brees meant to us. So again, shout out to the GOAT. We love you, Drew, and thank you. Our next topic is going to be Saints training camp. Um, so you know, they started training camp about 3 weeks ago, and of course, we're already with the foolishness. The injury bug has crept up on us. Brian Brzee was the first to go down. Now Jordan Tyson, which is probably one of the biggest things that could have happened to us. It sucks. It sucks. Our number one draft pick, eighth overall draft pick. Man, I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't think the kid's a bust. Yes, the kid had injury concerns in school, in college, but I don't think that should hinder his career. Yes, he's starting behind the eight ball now, but man, if this kid can overcome this, I think that he'll have a long, great career. I mean, from all reports, is that during the time he was with the team, in training camp, he was dominating. And you've seen some of the highlights, the move that he put on his teammate. That's your teammate, bruh. On Quincy Riley. Um, you know, man, it's tough to swallow. But I'm rooting for the kid. I'm praying that the kid gets better. and I'm praying that he finds some type of way to overcome these injuries, these hamstring injuries, because, these hamstring injuries linger for a while, for a long time, can go throughout your career, really. I mean, just look at people like Zion, look at Devin Booker. To take you back, look at Dante Stallworth. I just hope that he can find a way to overcome these and get back on the field and be able to have a healthy and productive career. And I think 2 months out, you know, I would I would sit him for longer than that, man, just to make sure that he's healthy. Just to ensure that this guy can finish out the season and at least get in down the stretch run. But other than that, um, the Saints had a dominant performance versus the Jaguars. Shuck doing his thing, dealing out there. Achane, going up against his former team, and it's 1-versus-1 in the practice. Two's got some reps. Her Spencer Rattler had a good camp, or at least a good practice versus the Jaguars. But, Achane out there doing his thing. And, in the preseason game, the starters didn't play, but we went with the 2s and the 3s, and we had some good performances. Zach Wilson, he outplayed Spencer Rattler. And my thing about Spencer Rattler is, is he a great practice player, or is he a good gamer, or does he not show up for the games, I should say. And I think that's the case. Some people shine in the game, some people shine in practice. And I think Spencer Rattler is probably one of the ones that shines in practice, and it doesn't translate to the games, but we'll see. We have 2 more games coming up, but to finish off with the Jaguars, the running backs look good. Chandler looks good. Plus he can play special teams. Estime, I love Audric Estime and the things that he brings. He looked good before he got injured on a bad ball by Spencer Rattler. But Bub Means looked real good. And Barry and Brown look real good. On defense, Christian Miller, I'm big on Christian Miller. He's dealing with a shoulder injury right now, but sounds like it's nothing too serious. But yeah, Christian Miller, man, I think he's going to be a absolute stud. Jalen Ford, been with the team almost 3-4 years now, I think. Had a big interception. I think he's going to do really well. You can hear my ESPN notifications going off. Let's see what that is. DeMar DeRozan signed with the Nuggets on a 1-year deal. So breaking news, DeMar DeRozan to the Nuggets. And also looks like Klay Thompson is going to Miami. Yep, Klay Thompson to Miami. So where else are you going to get that breaking basketball news on the Saints podcast? So, holla at your boy, Lanyard Podcast. We got it all. We do it all. But back to the Saints. So after the preseason game versus the Jags, they move on to a practice with the Cowboys, which, oh boy, there's one team I hate, or one other team besides the Falcons that I hate, and that's the Cowboys. So I'm all for the smoke. I'm all for the fights. I'm all for the wrestling matches. Brock Rexsteiner signed him to a lifetime contract with the suplex. Great form. Daddy would be proud. Cousin would be proud. So yeah, let's get it, man, with Brock Rexsteiner. But Olave is dominating anyone he plays against. So big ups to Chris Olave. And I just want to say, man, look, last year, earlier podcast last year, I called out Chris Olave. And just like others, everybody was calling out, is he a wide receiver number 1? He had drops. He had, looks like, lack of concentration, sometimes. But towards the end of the year last year, Chris Olave really showed who he is, and he's him. And since training camp this year, he's really elevated. And you can tell just from the clips and the highlights and, from the reports of people at practice, he's really elevated. He's really dominating. So shout out to Chris Olave. Do your thing, boy. Earn that contract. And congratulations on that contract, man. Congratulations on that contract. What was it? 4 years, 33 million. So well deserved contract. Um, you know, wide receiver ones come in all shapes, sizes. So yeah, we got ourselves a great wide receiver. Um, and yeah, I'm looking forward to him mentoring the younger guys on the team, which he's been doing, admittedly. And hopefully he can have an injury-free year and make his first Pro Bowl and become first team All Pro wide receiver, Chris Olave. So, but with the injury to Jordan Tyson, we needed someone to step up. So who stepped up in his absence? Bryce Lance. Yeah, that's his name. Bryce Lance. So Bryce Lance, 6'3", 215, something like that. Has been looking really good in training camp against the Cowboys. He dominated, had a couple of long touchdowns, red zone touchdowns. And then his practice versus the Rams also had a couple of touchdowns. So, going with Bryce Lance, stepping up in the absence of Jordan Tyson, and it was a reason the Saints, I believe, drafted Tyson and Barry and Brown, to go along with Jordan Tyson, just as insurance, for the injury. You don't hope injuries and you don't think injuries are going to occur, but man, it's a good thing they did. Excuse me. It's a good thing they did because, you know, um, we needed somebody to fill in for Tyson. So, and then Barry and Brown, he's also had a really good camp. So hopefully we'll get to see these guys in action, Saturday against the Rams, and we'll see what they do. Um, Now, one thing I wanted to touch on was Tyler Shuck. There's a lot of people saying that, Tyler Shuck is a ranked mid-20s quarterback, high 20s, and you have some people with him, lower teens. Um, from everything that I've seen training camp, and yes, he started out slow, going up against his own defense. He started out slow. Still had some good practices, but it wasn't where you would think a quarterback in the second year of an offense would be. But the offense is always slower to start than what the defense is. So, um, but now after seeing him against other teams, I mean, you really have to put that into perspective. And I probably would rank Shuck as a top 10 quarterback, elite quarterback. I mean, it all has to translate on game day, right? But they put the weapons around him, and he has not only elevated his teammates, but he's elevated himself to leadership, just to elite practicing. And the elite practice habits that you have will transfer into the game. So shout out to Tyler Shuck. And man, you know what? This guy has stepped up as a leader. If the pregame huddle. He led that, and man, what a wonderful job. It's not biting off of Brees, it's not copying Drew Brees or anything like that, but it's stepping up and manning up and taking control of your team. And that's exactly what he did. So, I replayed that pregame huddle over and over, man. I'm trying to see if I can get it set as my ringtone, to kind of piss some people off, but anyway, Saints on 3. But yeah, man, So game day Saturday. Oh, I skipped the practice with the Rams again. Shuck was dealing. Shuck was elite. Bryce Lance, a couple of touchdowns, one long touchdown, red zone touchdown as well. HN, Kendre Miller, um, those guys look good. Oh, Alvin Kamara against the Cowboys got hurt, man. And that's tough to hear, man. But uh his team normally gets him ready, ahead of schedule, quick recovery time. But, the older you get, the more injury prone you become and the longer it takes to, come back from injury. So we'll see with AK. Wish him well, wish all the injured players well. So get back in a hurry, man. We're gonna need you guys. But yeah, again, game day is this Saturday against the Rams. I don't think the starters are gonna play. Well, there's no announcement from Kellen Moore yet, but we shall see. Hopefully it should be a good game. We may get a quarterback controversy with Zach Wilson. I think he'll be the starting quarterback if Shuck doesn't play, over Rattler. And that'll give him a chance to elevate and see what he can do with, weapons on a more consistent basis. So I'm looking forward to it. Hope you're looking forward to it. Again, this is your man, Big Pop, Lanyard Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe, follow, hit all the buttons, man. Just, do your boy a favor. We're trying to get up to 100 followers. So like I said, like, share, comment. Oh, one more thing before I go. Madden 27. I'm normally a player on PS5 or Xbox, shout out to T Jones. He keep calling me out, but he don't want to see these problems. He ain't beat me in like 15 years. But right now I'm playing it on the Switch 2, trying to get my game up. I haven't played in a while, so trying to get my game back up. But it is amazing on Switch 2. The Whodats are they're crazy, man. Shuck be dealing. Tyson is unstoppable. Olave is unstoppable. HN running like Saquon Barkley. So yeah, if you get a chance, man, if you're a Saints fan and you're a Madden player, this is your time to pick it up. On Switch 2, the graphics are insane. Play it in handheld. I can play it on the toilet. I can play it anywhere, man. So, it's amazing. It's a great time. And I have fun. But, again, this is Big Pop, Lanyard Podcast. We got some more heat coming for you. We got Pelicans. I'm trying to dip into wrestling. I'm also trying to dip into game streaming. So I'll be able to show you guys some Switch gameplay, PS5, Xbox Series gameplay. So, again, holla at your boy. Let's get it. Peace.
Big Pop on the mic.
Welcome to the pod with your man Big Pop. Anything you want, we yap about. Say it with your chest and say it loud. Anything that's hot,